If you miss the train I'm on, you will know that I am gone.
Deep to right field. If it's fair, it's gone. It is gone. Another Rizzo blast.
And it's out of here. Javi Baez with a two-run homer. A towering shot. His first home run as a New York Met, coming in his first game for the Mets.
Lord, the Yankees and the Mets have gotten guys miles away from Wrigley Field and onto their field. And I'm so excited tonight because we've got a Yankee team that has seen Anthony Rizzo smash his way into the Bronx. Well, Miami for starters, but into the Bronx. Do you know he's the first player to get on base 8 times in 2 games for the Yankees in 2 straight games? Let me see if I got that right on Bleacher Report. But yeah, first Yankee in franchise history to reach base 8+ times in first 2 games with the club. So they might be miles away. As Joan Baez would sing. And then Javi Baez, his first homer as a Met. Hinted yesterday he'd love to go back to Chicago in free agency. But you know, I was thinking today on Alex Guerra podcasting, they can't think about 2022 now. Rizzo and Baez going, as the New York Post would say, kaboom for the Yankees and the Mets. Cannot think about 2022. These 2 teams are in a playoff hunt heading into August, and they must play like they're willing, like they have been paid to play for the Yankees and the Mets. They cannot think of 2022, and clearly they're not. Clearly they're going to enjoy being in pinstripes of either variety, the Yankee pinstripes or the Met pinstripes. But I have one message tonight, because I think for these guys it's a little freeing to be out of the chaotic mess that is the Cubs world. The Cubs are under 500. Their team's a mess. They just got rid of almost everybody. And there's a joke about the Ivy being traded from center field. Look, I made a joke. I said, Yanks and Mets already putting the Ivy out for their newcomers, and they feel right at home. Almost like they did put Ivy out there, right? So, there's some freedom there. It was a chaotic situation in Chicago this year. They got blown out. They had losing streak on losing streak. And now they can kind of be in contention. Which is weird because just 5 years ago, when the Cubs won the World Series, they were in contention all season long. But so on the line of freedom for these guys, which I think they feel, and Chris Bryant going to the Giants, Cubs getting rid of Kimbrel, getting rid of Jock Peterson, getting rid of Schwarber. It was a big fire sale in Chicago just 5 years after winning the World Series. Anyway, the idea of freedom. Shout it from your rooftops. Do not let this government shut us down again. Let me say this again. We fought July 1776, 245 years ago, for our freedoms. And now we fight to preserve our freedoms. To the very core of fighting back against restrictions that might be coming because of the Delta variant. The unvaccinated, now they're starting to go get vaccinated. So says the Washington Post. I believe I've said get the vaccine, but I'm not going to pressure you to do it. But now it's more evident that with over 90% being unvaccinated, being hospitalized, that's a warning sign to get the vaccine. So do it. If not for the whole, we're not going to be free if we get it. For the whole, we have to be free from this virus. Personally, forget about widespread, okay? If you're unvaccinated right now, it seems very unhealthy. Take care of your health right now. Take care of your health right now. That's what I'm going to say on that. But in general, Cuomo, Blasio, I've told you this a couple days ago. Do not buy into the CDC recommendations. Do not buy into this idea of lockdowns again. Our city can't go through it again. Our nation can't go through it again. And we didn't spend 245 years to again be dependent on the government. We did not. That is my message to end July. We did not spend 245 years to be dependent again on a government. We broke free of a tyrannical government. We cannot be part of a tyrannical government and let them take over and lock us down. If they want to offer money for vaccines, go ahead. But don't lock us down. That is not on the table. That shouldn't be on the table. Let me clarify. That should not be on the table. Our country cannot go through that. Our country must be independent of a lockdown. If you want to essentially kill 245 years of progress, lock us down then. But that's what it will do. Locking us down 245 years after we were locked in by Great Britain and we broke free of them to end July, I say that will ruin us a second time. So do not do it, President Joe Biden. Do not do it, Governor Cuomo. Do not do it, Mayor Bill de Blasio. Do not lock us down and restrict us again. You want to preserve America? Locking us down again is not the answer. You want to preserve the 245 years that we were fighting for just this month, 245 years ago. You don't lock us down again. You don't restrict us again. President Biden, Vice President Harris, Governor Cuomo, Mayor de Blasio, you don't lock us down again. That will ruin it. We are to preserve the country, not underserve its citizens. That is my message on July 31st, 2021. We elect you people to preserve America. We don't elect you to underserve us and lock us down. And I'm tired of that. One more time. We didn't elect you. Most of America didn't elect you, right? But we don't elect people to underserve us. We elect people to preserve the very fabric that is what the founding fathers fought for 245 years ago. And locking us down a second time is not going to preserve us. It will underserve us in the worst possible way. We did not break free to be underserved by our elected officials. We are independent because we want to preserve that independence, that freedom, that non-restrictive society. And this talk of another lockdown is absolutely gut-wrenchingly sickening to me. We don't underserve. We didn't get here 245 years later to underserve our citizens. We got here 245 years later to preserve our country and our citizens. And we underserve them. We're underserving them by not encouraging them to get back to work. We're underserving our population right now by not encouraging them to get even further, get the vaccine. Now, $100, that's encouragement, but there's got to be more. We talk about being informed for elections, but you just want someone to get a vaccine without the information. And then if you say they don't have the information because they're stupid, that's not the answer either. America. So stop underserving your citizens 245 years after the founding fathers set you up to preserve our democracy, our republic, our nation, our citizenry. Preserve, do not underserve is my message to end July. Preserve, do not underserve is my message to end this month of freedom. Because underservice will kill us. Another lockdown will kill us. Do you know I found out over the last couple of weeks that if you have asthma, you don't have to wear the mask? Because, oh, by the way, the mask can restrict your breathing. You know, obviously, if they say you don't have to wear it with if you have asthma. So stop underserving us and start preserving us, elected leaders. Stop underserving your citizenry and start preserving it. We elected you to preserve our America 245 years later. We didn't elect you to underserve us. If that's what you're doing, day in and day out, with the confusing messages, with Fauci saying one thing, then you rely on him, he says another. CDC director having to make all kinds of corrections. We don't elect you to confuse us. We elect you to diffuse this virus. We elect you to diffuse the situation. We elect you to say, here's the answer, America. Here's the solution. What solution are we getting now? Another lockdown idea? More restrictive measures on the table? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Apparently, the vaccinated are contagious again. Because this variant is finding its way. But does that mean we have to be so fearful that we restrict down again? No. We fight through. Do you know something? And they're going to really, really hate me saying this. Maybe not. I don't know. But I'll be candid. My family, while I was in the hospital, believed in living their life, knowing I would live mine. And here I am podcasting to you. So it's that power of faith, of prayer, of God, of believing in healing. Healing doesn't mean restricting us. President Biden, Governor Cuomo, Mayor de Blasio. Healing means letting it heal, letting the wound heal. You don't necessarily have to cover a scab because that scab will heal itself. You don't necessarily have to restrict us again because we can heal ourselves. We are responsible Americans by even bringing it up again. You are therefore, moving forward, underserving your citizens. Instead of preserving this beautiful citizenry that is the America, the United States of America. So tonight, July 31st, preserve, don't underserve. Preserve your America. Preserve your citizenry. Don't lock us down again. Most of us, if we're vaccinated, have it. And you know what? F it. I'll say it. I'm becoming a proponent of the third booster shot. I was a little skeptical, but now I see why we might need another little help. Fine. If that means no restrictions, go ahead. Where did the talk of that third booster shot go anyway? We got the Yanks and Mets getting their booster shots, right? With Baez and Rizzo, kabooms, as the Post puts it. Yet the actual health booster shots, they've kind of disappeared from the map, have they not? Let's bring them back on the map. Let's really discuss this if that's what it's going to take. So preserve, don't underserve. And I would say that for any elected official, for any community board leader, for anybody in authority, work to preserve America 245 years later Because right now, in a gross, long, across-the-board way, everybody's underserving America. And we must work better to preserve us. As a collective, our founding fathers didn't say to us, that it didn't work 245 years ago, just to let it go to hell in a handbasket. No. They worked, and they have a constitution in place to preserve this beautiful place known as America. So let's preserve it the way they wanted it to. Let's not underserve it. Let's not undercut it. Let's not undermine it. Let's work to preserve what we had celebrated just this month alone. The idea of freedom. Not underserve the idea of freedom. Not underserve the citizens' right to freedom. I'm going to talk about tomorrow. Apparently, gold medalists have to sell their medals. What's going on there? I don't know, but I'm going to find out and tell you. But don't underserve us anymore. Don't undersell us. Don't underwhelm us even. Just preserve this America with your leadership, or you will be responsible for the end of the America as we know it. I hate to say end of America on the whole, but America as we know it. And do you want that on your hands? Do you want a brand new America to look bad? Maybe some do. Maybe some in congressional positions do. Maybe some in leadership do. And that's why we must be watchful. That's why we must make them backtrack. That's why we must make them retract statements that don't preserve America. Because we didn't elect you to underserve your citizens at Congress, at Senate, at President, at Vice President, at Governor, at Mayor. None of those elected officials at Council, City Council, have been elected to underserve us. But that's what a lot of them are doing. So I speak into existence, heading into August, more preservation, less underserving, and more oneness for this great nation known as the United States of America. A nation that we will still root on to gold in Tokyo. A nation that we still will root on one another in the community. No matter what the leadership says, our leadership comes from within. From our soul, our love of America, and then our care for our neighbor. Yes, people do care about each other, despite what you see on the news. Don't let them stop you from fully serving and fully preserving our great nation in your own way. Whether in the podcast world, whether in the local grocery store, whether in the local community on the whole. Those who preserve and want to preserve your community, that is part of preserving America on the whole. If we can keep every American community intact, we will be fine. But the minute those communities start saying no, and there's no way, there's no leadership to guide us to better ways, only more dissent, more rot in some communities that don't have people that they can trust, then we will have a downfall. And I don't want to see that downfall. Our founding fathers and everyone 245 years later that have worked hard to preserve, We're actually almost at 20 years since 9/11. And there were preservation efforts there to keep America intact after being attacked. There were preservation efforts after 9/11's attacks to keep us intact. We can do it. We can keep us preserved. We just have to stop underserving, even if it's underserving each other. Change the culture. Change the world the best you can. If we can't rely on leadership, that's a pity. That sucks. We voted these people in to preserve America, and they're underserving America one day at a time. And yes, Alex Garrett podcasting, I'm tired of it. So let's not underserve. Let's preserve heading into August. Take the lessons of July and move them into August 2021. And I mean July 1776. I mean July 1776. Because they work to preserve. And they are relying on us to preserve it 245 years later. So let's not let them down. Let's not let each other down. Let's not let the beauty of America down. Let's preserve. Let's not underserve. I'm Alex Garrett. Welcome to August. We're going to have a great one. But just remember why we celebrated a whole month of freedom this July. Especially freedom from COVID. We're there. Let's not let them tell us otherwise. We are freeing ourselves from COVID. We've got to get more people vaccinated. I agree. But let's not underserve our population and our citizenry in the process. Alex at alexgnyc.com. I think I'm going to blog about this. alexgnyc.com. Be on the lookout. I'll talk to you soon.